5 of the most common golf tips you hear which can only be described as, well, complete nonsense. Let's do it, and let's do it now. Swell, I think is what they say. Just aim left. Alright! Hi everyone, James Robinson here. Guys, first things first, I'd like to explain, guys, that this video is, well, golf can be a very difficult place. Golf can be a very confusing place, and sometimes the tips you get for golf can be as confusing as golf is confusing. If you can understand that without being confused. Guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you do take 2 seconds and consider hitting that subscribe button below. That way you won't miss any of the great golf related content I bring to you guys every single day. In today's video, we're talking the 5 most ridiculous tips that I've ever heard, that you've probably definitely heard, and that every golfer up and down a driving range in the country, in the world, and the universe have heard. Guys, just before we get into the meat of this video, I'd just like to say that I think this video, looking back at it, I've just finished filming it, may come across as a little bit negative, and I don't want it to. That's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at, if you hear these tips, if you listen to these tips, if people tell you these tips, then think of these parts instead, because I'm sure people mean well, I'm sure they mean to help you with the game, but sometimes the wrong information can hinder more than it helps, and golf is a confusing place at the best of times. Now let's get to the video, and I apologise if I speak fast and get a bit, yeah. And we're going to start with this one. So you hit a shot, you're at the range, you're grinding away, you hit a bad one, a little bit right at that one, and the guy comes up alongside and he goes, "Oh mate, just a quick one. Hey, just a quick one. You look like you're doing really well. You look like you're swinging it really good. You're just lifting your head up. You're just looking up. You're just looking for it." And this is something which probably it's the one I feel most passionate about, and it's why I'm kicking off this video with this tip. So when someone says to you, you lifted your head up, you looked up. Now look closely at my golf swing here. Did anybody notice anything about where my head moved then, and where the head moved, and where the shot's gone? Because the shot there was actually pretty good. 7-iron, 165 yards, straight-ish, pretty much. We all know I hit it left anyway. And that's pretty much exactly what I would want from my 7-iron. Now, I'm not saying go and hit shots like that, go and move your head like awkward like I did there, but you'll see how it didn't affect it. You'll see how it didn't affect the shot, it didn't affect the strike. What people might mean is this. Oh, no. That was terrible. That was a really bad strike. Did I look up? No. What really happened there? So what really happened there was a terrible strike, 139 yards, and luckily enough we managed to get it on target. Now that wasn't because I looked up, it wasn't because my head was up, it wasn't because I was looking for the golf ball before I'd hit it, which amazes me that people say happens. And this isn't a rant either, so I'm trying to tell you kind of what really happens. So what really happens there is actually I've just not moved my weight correctly. I've loaded up into the right side wonderfully, I've stayed back, I've hung back, I've thrown the club at it, I've tried to hit it and get it airborne, and it may look visually like I've just looked up. I haven't looked up, my sternum stayed behind it, I've stayed behind the golf ball, and I haven't transferred the weight as I said, which means I haven't rotated into it, which means we're not going to hit down onto the golf ball. We're going to try and pick it off the surface, which is why you get that there. Because what could happen, and what I see so often when people say, "Oh yeah, I did just look up, I was just looking for it," then you get this. Well, I didn't look up, and that's gone 70 yards. But if I don't get the right movement, if I don't shift off that right side into the left side there, cover the golf ball and allow myself to hit down on it with the irons, then that's when the guy might march down from 4 bays over and say, "Oh, by the way, mate, you're just lifting your head up." So that for me is the number 1 tip, which isn't really a tip. So guys, just this video is more to kind of help you when you are at the range, listen to what people say, and maybe not listen to what a lot of people have say. As well, I looked up there, but that's, I mean, maybe I should. I really enjoyed that. There are some great players, by the way, who do look like they do that. Look at Stenson, look at a few others, I'll put them on screen now. That's my number 1 tip that I think is total nonsense, so just be wary of that one. Number 2. So moving on to tip number 2, and tip number 2 is a great tip for all you slicers out there, and this will be a big one as well, not so much at the driving range, but more for when you play with people. When you play with people who've overcome the slice, who've got rid of the slice, who play successfully with the slice. Let me show you. So generally what a slice is when you come across the golf ball, so your club might travel from the outside to the inside here with a pretty open face, the ball will start left and it will cut back a long way and probably do that and go far right, a long way over there. Now what a lot of people say is, oh, that's okay. You can play with a slice. I've played with a slice all my life. Just aim left, which for me would be an absolute nightmare. If you do watch the videos, you will know. Now, if you aim left, unfortunately, what doesn't change there is your target area, where you want the ball to finish. So if your club path's coming across the ball and you're going to aim further left, we can see here that the club path that I've just hit there was 28.5 degrees left. That one there. Now, if I say, okay, then that's fine. I want to move that ball flight that way, so it starts further left and finishes more on target. So I'm going to aim left. I'm going to aim over here. Watch what happens to the club path and watch what happens to where the ball finishes. So the club path's gone to 42.7 degrees left, which is actually quite an achievement. Look where the ball finishes. Now, the first shot was a bad slice. That's, I mean, that's even worse. So if you're going to aim left, be very, very careful that not only you're just going to make the problem even worse, you're going to cut across it even more, but also make sure you don't do this, because we've all done this who struggle with a slice. I'm going to aim left, I'm going to play my normal slice. Oh dear, football left! No, but you said aim left. You see what's happened there? The club path was bad again, 21 degrees to the left, but the club face was actually square to the path. So we've gone, well, left. So what's happened there is you've actually hit a worse shot than your standard slice, which you know you play anyway. So really, if you are slicing the ball, maybe work on the club path, work on the face angle, but try not just to aim left, because that's going to make it even more difficult for you. What about tip number 3? Now, tip number 3 is actually quite an interesting one, because we've already had a tip with a 7-iron and we've already had a tip with a driver. And one thing that I hear so often at the driving range, I've been going to the driving range quite a lot actually with Foxy, and we've been really enjoying ourselves, but it's that the golf swing is exactly the same. So whatever club you're hitting, just practice with one and you'll be fine, and you don't have to worry about other clubs. So if I hit this 7-iron with my driver swing, this is what would happen. Impressive amount of spin on the ball, but 32 yards, stone cold top. Now, if I was to hit an iron swing with my driver, you know what, I'm not going to do it, because I don't want to ruin the beautiful crown of this TaylorMade Sim driver. Basically, with an iron, you know you're trying to hit down into the ball. You know you're trying to create pressure onto the ball. With a driver, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to hit up on the ball. We're trying to get that impact post low point. Obviously with the irons, we're trying to get that impact pre-low point. So we take a nice divot and hopefully don't leave it out to the right like that. But that's one of the big things I hear, guys. Be very, very careful with that. The driver swing and the iron swing are two totally different golf swings, and you need to know how to differentiate them and when to differentiate them. That took me about 3 takes saying differentiate, so I hope you all appreciate that one. What about tip number 4? So tip number 4 is a beauty, guys, and it's one that you might hear the meatheads say. You might hear the guys who go to the gym to help them with the golf say that it's all about upper body strength, it's all about getting swell, I think is what they say. It's all about getting yourself bigger so that you can create more club head speed with the driver and hit it like Bryson. No. You see, guys, when you hit a driver, not much of the power comes from your upper body or your biceps, or your swing would look like this. I mean, it's another one where I've sliced it, to be fair, because we need the body to move in sequence. We need the body to move from the ground up. So if you're going to go to the gym, guys, if you're going to try and improve your driver distance, if you're going to try and improve club head speed, ball speed, just hit the ball further. Yes, do some upper body work. Yes, make yourself look good at the beach, but make sure you do some lower body work. These are the power muscles here. Make sure you do some rotational work. Make sure you do... I've gone dizzy now. Make sure you do some speed work, rotational work, all things that are actually going to make you swing the club faster and not just get in your own way. That's definitely something which I need to do more of, more gym work with the glutes, with the hips, so I can turn faster. Actually, that was really good. Maybe I should spin round and hit the ball dizzy more often. That's tip number 4. Number 5. So guys, tip number 5 is a really interesting one. It's actually not one to do with driver, not one to do with irons, and to be fair, oh, that wasn't very good. And to be fair, not one I'm going to explain to you. It involves the putter, and let's go over to our short game expert, Chris.
So one of the biggest tips that I hear from most amateurs when they come for lessons is talking about straight back, straight through, keep the square face throughout the stroke. And to be honest, it's a load of nonsense. Obviously with a putter, we'll always have a lie angle and a neck design. and this is always designed to have a little bit of arc and a natural arc. So from there, we shouldn't be going straight back, straight through. The only way for somebody to go straight back, straight through would be to deviate their arms, start to change, and start to guide the putter. So here we have a perfect example of this. So if I bring a ball in here now, the black line here explains where the putter should arc slightly in on the way back, slightly in on the way through, and we should be able to hold more putt. So don't try and make it straight back, straight through. So that's going to be impossible unless you had a line angle of vertical, which is illegal. Guys, I'm Rick Shiels Golf. If you want to check out my channel, come on over. All things short game and course management.
Come on over, baby.
Come on over.
So guys, there you go. That is my top 5 golf tips which you need to be careful of, you need to be wary of, you need to just not really listen to. But hopefully there we've covered what they mean by that. I think people don't necessarily mean to tell you these things. I think they just mean something else. Really, I hope you haven't taken that as a rant. I hope you haven't taken it as a real negative video. But golf is hard, golf is confusing, and I think with the wrong information, it can be very, very, very confusing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you've enjoyed that. That was my top 5 golf tips, which you need to be careful of. Guys, if you are new here, make sure you do consider hitting that subscribe button below. Leave us a like if you did enjoy that content, and comment below what's the worst golf tip you've ever heard. And did it work? Apart from that, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Did anybody notice anything about where my head moved then, and where the head moved, and where the shot's gone? Because the shot there was actually pretty good.